So we are here today with Georg Szalai. For starters, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling really good. I feel very energized because the energy in the whole conference and market is very positive. So that's infectious.
Yeah. How does it feel to be chosen moderator at Ibeseries?
I was very happy because it's my first year at Ibeseries, and so I thought it's good to see and write about panels, but also try to moderate a panel and meet some of the panelists behind the scenes and learn more about the company. It helps you understand things a little better, and also you learn about the audience and what they need. So it's great to see it from both sides.
How did you prepare all the questions in order to do the panel correctly?
So I knew about the company Anonymous Content, that was the focus of the panel. So I knew about them, but I didn't know too much about the Spanish and the Brazil joint venture. I knew they had them, but so I had to read up on it and ask some people I know in the industry, and then I talked to them by Zoom. We had a little meeting, and I asked a few questions. They mentioned a few things, I took notes, and then I said, okay, I'll draw up a few questions, and then the audience can do the rest,
And how would you describe your day as a global business editor at The Hollywood Reporter? How is your day?
It's usually very busy.
Yeah.
And it's always different. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been at The Hollywood Reporter for more than 20 years now. As a global business editor, I think for like 2 years. And every day is different. Some days you wake up and there's breaking news. Somebody died, or some company is buying another company. A Spanish production company has been acquired by Fremantle. Oh my God. And you wake up and you jump out of bed and you're thinking, it's 6 a.m, type, get the news out. And then other days it's a little more quiet, but you get all the questions. Your colleagues say, can you ask people, I am based in London, can you ask people in London about this Hollywood project? Or do you know somebody in Scandinavia? Or do you know somebody I grew up in Austria, Do you know anybody in Austria about this? So every day is different, and I think that's part of the fun and excitement.
And as a European citizen, because you are from Austria, how have you connected with the values of The Hollywood Reporter? Because it is a North American media. Mm-hmm. So how has it been to connect with the values? And has it been easy for you to enter in The Hollywood Reporter?
So for me it was easy because I studied journalism. I did a master's degree in journalism in New York. And so I spent a year in New York, then applied for a job, worked for a financial newswire service. And so I got very used to the American journalistic values. There's often a very clear, like don't accept expensive gifts.
Yeah.
Try to be balanced and prove everything. Don't, not like some European yellow press. Oh, let's just make up something. It's all very organized. And so I got used to that very quickly. And when I joined The Hollywood Reporter, they actually asked me and said, oh, wouldn't you want to work for us because you write about entertainment more and more? And I said I would love that. And so it was fairly easy, but I think spending time in America is good because then you understand a little bit how people think differently there.
And is there any difference between the journalism in Europe and the journalism in USA?
I think there's a few differences. I think one of the things is in the US it's often very, very fast.
Yeah.
And I noticed that sometimes I hear from European colleagues, oh yeah, I can sit down and I write this tonight. And I say, well, when a panel finishes, they say, when do you write this? I say, now. And I publish it as soon as possible. So I think there's more speed is required. But then at the same time, you have to be accurate. And so I think kind of balancing those two things is like a high demand in the US. And I think that's a little different because my European friends usually say, it's either the one or the other. You're either quick or you're very careful. I say, no, they want both.
Yes, totally. Before you were talking in the panel about the COVID pandemic, and that media companies had to open up in order to open up about the world and for everyone to get to see everything. So how did you manage to do your job while at the pandemic times? How did you do it?
It was a lot of, I think the COVID pandemic was the time when all the meetings that people wanted to do in person would suddenly become Zoom or Teams meetings. It used to be, do you want to meet for breakfast? I'm having a busy day that day, but if the breakfast finishes at 8, I can probably travel to central London. Okay, let's do 6:30 for breakfast, finish at 7:30, and then at 8 o'clock I'm in a Wi-Fi coffee shop dealing with news. And the pandemic, it started being, let's do a meeting on Zoom, Teams, whichever platform. And it was a lot of calling, but it was also good because you noticed people had nothing else to do and they wanted to share. So for us, it was a lot of work to explain what do people do, how to do things differently, what are companies doing in terms of policies, how do they make sure that work continues and people don't just sit at home crying. So there was a lot to write about, and then, what does it mean for the box office, for films? You cannot go to the movie theaters. So a lot of I cover a lot of business and finance topics, so a lot of that had to change. And so there was a lot to do, but all virtually.
Yeah. And have you seen any of the Iberia screenings?
I haven't. I didn't. Yesterday I couldn't find the time. I was working, I think, until about 10 o'clock last night. But today I want to see something. I think I would love to have more time to see more. Yes. So hopefully, if I come back in the future, I can maybe find an evening where I can just watch a few things.
Which one do you want to see?
I want to see. There's apparently a film, película.
Yes. Very good. Yes.
Gracias. About AI, artificial intelligence. And
I know
we've
that.
been writing more and more at the Hollywood Reporter. And Hollywood is thinking about AI more and more, so it's a big topic. So I want to see that film and then maybe hear the discussion, how the Spanish creators of this think about it, just to learn, because I think everybody's still in the learning stages and everybody's experimenting. Oh yeah, maybe we could use this, but maybe not that. And so just the more I can hear and the more different approaches I hear, I feel I can learn about this every day, every hour, every minute. Yeah,
totally. And how do you feel about artificial intelligence? Are you against it or no?
So I'm, one of my friends said, "You're a journalist, you must be scared," right?
Yeah.
And I said, I think the key thing in our business and also maybe in Hollywood and production, series or films, is it probably replaces a lot of the more boring work. George, can you write up an earnings report? How did this company do financially? Probably I can do this because they can say, oh, here's a press release, and they summarize it. I know that some companies already do this. Oh, inflation numbers are out, and the news reports get written automatically because they only take the figure that's new, plug it in, and that's it. So I think that stuff will probably get commoditized, as they say in America.
Yeah.
They don't need me in the future maybe for this. But what hopefully creatives bring to the table for series, for example, or me as a journalist, is the, hopefully smart thinking or the human surprising thinking,
Yes.
Oh, we think this is the trend, but how about this? And trying to challenge or question. And I think AI is good at, right now at least, summarizing what's already known. It's not so good, I think, to say, oh, maybe there's a different way and maybe we should not all do the same thing. So I think that kind of do not follow the lemmings who fall off the cliff, but maybe do it slightly differently. And I think creatives will also add the value when they say, I know I can write this romantic comedy. It's always the same, but I'm gonna write the romantic comedy with like a little fun twist. I'm gonna be doing something that you have not seen, and hopefully you and I will enjoy it and say, oh yeah, an AI program probably would have not written this because it can't think on maybe a third level of human, thought.
Yeah. And what is your favorite film of all times?
It's funny. I really like the movie Memento.
It
shows you how old I am. Also,
yes.
I really like Memento, and I like Almost Famous, which is a movie about a young journalist who ends up covering a band. So it reminded me a little bit of myself. Patrick Fugit plays a young journalist trying to cover a band. Reminded me at first going to Hollywood things and saying, "Oh, hello, I'm the Austrian young guy. Can I ask you a question?" And people saying, "Okay." And now it's much easier because now I've done it long enough that people say, "Oh, I know who you are," and I trust you. You treat me fairly. But in the early days, I think I had a little bit of an experience like you.
It reminded it of you.
It reminded me a lot of me.
What is something that you like the most about Ibeseries? And lastly, what do you expect to find this year here?
So, it's my first time at Ibeseries, and the first thing I noticed, the first day, just picking up my accreditation, was everybody was very excited. There was a lot of passion and enthusiasm. And that was great, because I think in Hollywood, a lot of the talk is, oh, the film box office is down. Streaming is destroying the business. Streaming is not making enough money. Everything's head down, negative. And in reality, entertainment is supposed to be fun and, you know, move you. And so seeing people come together and say, oh, great to see you. I have an idea. I want to talk to you about this project on the first day, in the first minutes, was great. And I've continued to see a lot of that. And I think that is one of the nice things, that you come to something where people want to work together, collaborate, look for new ideas, and be excited about what they do. And I think that hopefully reminds everybody who's here why they do it, even if work is often hard and frustrating and difficult and there's not enough money and other problems, you know, that you have to deal with.
Thank you so much, Georg.
You're welcome.